Story 1. The Witch of the Mountain Pass. My name is Balkar Singh, and I am a truck driver. What I am about to tell you isn't just a story, it is something I lived through. People say you shouldn't talk about ghosts at night, but for us truck drivers, life begins at night. Driving a truck in India isn't just a job, it's a penance. We drive alone for nights on end, with only the roar of the engine and old Bollywood songs for company. While you sleep safely in your homes, we are cutting through the darkness to deliver goods across the country. And believe me, on these desolate roads in the dead silence, we don't just meet living people, we meet things you cannot imagine. This happened about 7 or 8 years ago. I had saved every penny to buy my own 14-wheeler truck. It was but to me it was a palace. I painted it, made it feel like home, and wrote God's Grace on the front. I was finally making good money, but perhaps that was the problem. Jealousy is a powerful thing. At the dabas, the roadside diners where we stopped, the way people looked at me changed. They were envious of my success. I remember it clearly. It was Amavasya, the night of the new moon, the darkest night of the month. I was driving from Nashik to Nagpur carrying industrial parts. It was 11 p.m. when I started. I lit an incense stick, prayed to the Guru, and set off. The road was unusually empty, especially near the Malshaj Ghat, a treacherous mountain pass. It had just rained, and a thick fog was rising from the asphalt. Around 1 a.m. on a sharp hairpin turn, I saw something in the middle of the road. At first, I thought it was a dead animal, but as the headlights hit it, I realized it wasn't an animal. It was a black bundle of cloth, surrounded by lemons, chilies, and other ritual items. I knew immediately what this was. In our culture, we call it an utara, a black magic removal ritual. When someone wants to get rid of a curse or bad luck, they bind it into a bundle and throw it on a crossroads or a mountain pass. The belief is that whoever runs over it takes the curse upon themselves. I knew I should avoid it, but I was on a narrow mountain pass, deep valley on the left, mountain wall on the right. I had no room to swerve. I felt the front tire crush the bundle. Instantly, the truck's engine stuttered. The cabin light, which was switched off, began flickering violently. And then, a blast of freezing air hit me. My windows were up, the AC was off, yet I felt a coldness so deep it pierced my bones. It felt like someone had dumped a sack of ice on me. I swore under my breath and kept driving. When the mountain pass ended, I stopped at a tea stall to check the tires. My heart sank. Stuck to the front tire were crushed lemons and gray human hair. Tangled in the axle was the black cloth. I used a stick to pull it loose. As the cloth tore open, something fell out. It was a small, grotesque doll, wrapped in red vermilion powder and bound with white hair. But the worst part? 2 large rusted pins were stabbed deep into where its eyes should be. I didn't touch it. I spat on it, washed my face, played holy prayers on the stereo, and drove away fast. I told myself it was fake, just superstition. But the fear had already set in. Halfway to Nagpur, my truck broke down 3 times. The engine, which never overheated, was boiling, and then came the smell. Inside my cabin, I started smelling something terrible, like rotting lemons mixed with burning hair. Even after I delivered the cargo and washed the truck 3 times, the smell wouldn't leave. Things got worse. My business started failing. Tires would burst, clients stopped calling. I became irritable, angry, and I couldn't sleep. Then came the night that broke me. I was hauling cement to Mumbai. On the Kasara Ghat mountain pass, the truck died completely. I was stranded in the dark. That night, alone in the silence, I heard 2 things. First, a dragging sound from the back of the truck, like someone pulling a heavy cement sack. I checked 3 times. Nothing. The second sound was inside the cabin. Whenever I closed my eyes, I heard a faint weeping, a woman crying. At first, it sounded like she was miles away in a desert, but slowly, the sound came closer. It felt like she was running toward me through the dark. Just as the sound reached my ear, I would wake up screaming. By morning, a mechanic came. He touched 2 wires and the truck started instantly. He said, "Brother, everything is fine." But nothing was fine. I started having blackouts. I would be driving on the highway and suddenly I'd wake up at 5 a.m., parked on some dirt road in a village I didn't know, with the steering wheel sticky with lemon juice. Finally, I hit rock bottom. No money, bank seizing my truck. One night, sitting in my truck at the depot, crying, I saw something shine under my seat. I picked it up. It was a pin. The same rusted pin from the voodoo doll's eye. How did it get inside my locked cabin? Before I could react, I heard it. A suppressed, giggling laugh from the sleeper berth behind me. The small bed behind the driver's seat. My blood froze. I grabbed my heavy flashlight and shined it on the bed. Empty, just a dirty blanket. But as the light hit the blanket, the smell of burning hair became suffocating. And then, I saw the blanket move, just slightly, as if someone was breathing underneath it. I touched it. It was ice cold. I ran. I jumped out of the truck and didn't look back. But desperation forces you to do dangerous things. With the bank threatening to take my truck, I took one last job on the next Amavasya new moon. I was driving through Khandesh. At 2 a.m., starving, I stopped at a dhaba. I looked like a wreck, red eyes, beard grown out. I ordered eggs and bread. When the food came, I lost control. I didn't eat with my hands. My hands turned into claws. I started shoving the hot food into my mouth like a wild animal, making disgusting smacking sounds. My friend Bantu, another driver, shook me. "Bolkar, what are you doing? Are you an animal?" I looked up at him and I laughed, but the voice that came out wasn't mine, it was a woman's voice. Hungry, still hungry. I grabbed food from Bantu's plate. He screamed, "Ghost," and ran back. I snapped out of it, finding myself on the floor, eating scraps like a dog. Terrified, I ran back to my truck and drove to a town called Badlapur. I had heard of a Bhagat, a powerful spiritual healer who lived there in a graveyard of old trucks. I found him living inside the rusted shell of an old bus. He was 70 years old with one milky white eye that seemed to glow in the dark. I told him everything. The doll, the smell, the hunger. He threw some ash in the air and said in a gravelly voice, "Someone was jealous of your success, Bolkar. This isn't a normal ghost. This is a Bengali hex, a spirit sent to block your progress. First, it eats the road, then the vehicle, then the owner." He told me the spirit wasn't in me. It was in the truck. It had become a passenger. He made me crawl under the truck and bring grease from the axle that crushed the lemon. He mixed it with diesel and lit it. The fire turned green. In the flames, I saw a face, a woman's face, swollen and black. The Bhagat said, "We have to send her back. But to drive her out, we must go into the cabin. You will be the bait." That night, inside the closed cabin, the Bhagat lit special leaves. Smoke filled the air. The temperature dropped until frost formed on the dashboard inside the closed truck. Suddenly, the seatbelt wrapped around my throat like a snake. I was choking. The curtain to the sleeper berth ripped open. A hand came out. A skeletal hand, dripping with black slime. It grabbed my neck from behind. It burned like acid. The Bhagat slammed a piece of burning camphor onto the skeletal hand. A scream shattered the glass of the windows. "Hit her, Bolkar, hit her now," the Bhagat screamed. I grabbed a heavy iron wrench. I turned around. She was there. A woman, her body crushed as if by a tire. Her head was twisted backward. Her eyes were empty black pits filled with maggots. I swung the wrench with all my strength, smashing it into her face. The truck jumped as if a bomb went off. The woman exploded into black smoke. The Bhagat threw green ash at the sleeper berth, shouting, "Return to your master, return." Silence. The cold vanished. The lights came back on. The Bhagat, bleeding from his nose, whispered, "She is gone, but she has returned to the one who sent her." A month later, at the same dhaba, a police officer told us about a strange accident. A new truck driver named Gadju, a man who had been very jealous of me, was found dead in his cabin. There was no crash, but his body was charred black from the inside, and his mouth was stuffed open with a heavy iron wrench. I knew then, the highway gives back exactly what you give it. Story 2, The Forbidden Jungle. My name is Pawan. This story is from the 1990s. I was desperate for money, so I took a job to retrieve a truck that had been abandoned in a deep, dense forest. The owner told me, "That truck went in 3 months ago. 5 people have gone to get it. None came back." I went anyway. I took a local guide named Niranjan, a famous hunter in that village. He told me the villagers believed the jungle was alive. We hiked deep into the woods. It was beautiful but silent, too silent. While gathering firewood, I heard it, a woman's voice whispering my name. "Pawan?" I told Niranjan. His face went pale. He decided we needed to camp immediately and leave at first light. "This jungle," he said, "does not like intruders." That night, I took the watch. It was freezing. I fell into a doze and had a nightmare. In the dream, I saw the truck. It was sinking into a swamp. Standing on top of the sinking truck was a woman. She was unnaturally tall, with limbs that were too long for a human. Her skin was white, her hair wild. She looked at me with red eyes and opened her mouth. It stretched all the way to her ears. I woke up screaming. Niranjan was staring into the darkness. "She is here," he whispered. He pulled out a knife carved with symbols and slashed the air. A scream echoed from the trees. Then we heard thumping sounds like something heavy jumping from tree to tree above us. Niranjan fired his rifle into the branches. Something fell with a heavy thud. We ran a check with flashlights. Nothing, just empty ground, but the leaves were disturbed. We realized we were being hunted. We tried to leave the next day, but no matter which direction we walked, we ended up back at our campsite. The jungle was shifting, trapping us. Just as we lost hope, we smelled smoke. We followed it to a small clearing where a Buddhist monk was meditating. He was young, calm, and completely out of place in this nightmare forest. He invited us to stay near his fire. He told us, "The thing you saw is a forest spirit. It traps travelers until they die of starvation or fear. Stay close to me." That night, the spirit returned. We saw a shadow, 3 meters tall, emerging from the bamboo thicket. It whispered, "You will all die. Your time is up." Niranjan fired his gun. The bullets passed right through it. The monk stood up. He didn't fight. He simply raised his hand and chanted a prayer for peace. He asked the spirit to let go of its anger. The spirit froze, shrieked, and vanished into smoke. We slept. But when we woke up, the monk was gone. His tent, his fire gone without a trace. The landscape had changed back to normal. We walked for 20 minutes and found the road. I never found the truck, and honestly, I don't care. Story 3. The rules of the road. My name is Manjesh. I once applied for a job at a transport company that paid double the normal salary. I thought I was lucky. But then the manager sat me down and said, "We only drive at night. And if you want this money, you must follow the 10 rules. If you break one, you will never be found." Here are the rules he gave me. Rule 1. Once you start the engine, you do not stop until you reach the destination. Not for water, not for the toilet. Rule 2. Keep your high beams on. If the darkness seems thicker than normal or if your lights flicker, speed up. Do not stop. Rule 3. If you see a sign that says road closed but the road looks clear, keep driving, do not turn around. Rule 4. If you see a man walking alone in the dark, ignore him. If he stops and stares at you, stop the truck. Let him in, do not speak to him, do not look at him in the mirror. Drop him wherever he signals. Rule 5. If you hear scratching on the roof or the back of the container, do not check it. Just drive. Rule 6. If your radio starts whispering, turn it off immediately. Pull over, put your head down, and close your eyes. You will hear knocking on the windows. You might hear the door open. Do not open your eyes until the smell of smoke fades. Rule 7. If you see something crawling next to your truck, keeping pace with you at 60 miles per hour, look straight ahead. Do not look at it. Rule 8. If you hear a scream, stop. Hide in the back container. Wait 10 minutes after the lights stop flickering. Rule 9. If a beautiful woman signals for a lift, do not stop. Check your mirror. If she is still on the road, you are safe. If she is not on the road, do not look in the back seat. She is already inside. I asked the manager, "You said 10 rules. What is the 10th? He smiled a cold smile. "I will tell you the 10th rule if you make it back alive." I walked out of that office and never went back. I later heard the guy who took the job died in a ditch. His body was found being eaten by an old woman and a young girl who vanished into thin air when the police arrived. Maybe the 10th rule was simply, don't take the job. Story 4. The cargo of the dead. My name is Mahesh. I've been driving trucks for years and I've heard all the rumors about highway ghosts. I never believed them. Not until that one Amavasya, the night of the new moon. It was during the lockdown. I had been sitting at home for weeks, desperate for money. My neighbor, who worked at a government hospital, offered me a job. They were short on ambulances and needed a private truck to transport emergency medical supplies. I agreed. I needed the cash. For a few days, it was normal oxygen cylinders, stretchers. But then I got a call to transport special cargo to Nagpur. It was a 12-hour drive. When I reached the hospital, my blood ran cold. They weren't loading medicine. They were loading 2 large wooden crates, and inside those crates were bodies. I tried to refuse. "This isn't an ambulance," I shouted. But the doctor told me it was a government emergency. If I refused, I wouldn't get paid a single rupee for the work I had already done. I was trapped. I had no choice. I started driving at 7:00 p.m. It was the night of the new moon. My mother always told me, "Mahesh, never go out on Amavasya. The barrier between the living and the dead is thinnest tonight." I should have listened. By 10:00 p.m., I was on the highway. It was completely deserted. I stopped at a small dhaba to eat the tiffin my mother packed. The dhaba owner was packing up early. I asked for tea. He looked at me nervously and said, "No tea. We don't stay here late anymore, not with the sickness going around." Then he looked at my truck and asked, "Are you crossing the Ghats mountain pass tonight?" "Yes," I said. "I have to deliver this by morning." He looked terrified. "The fog is thick tonight, brother. Be careful. Don't stop for anyone." I drove on. 15 kilometers later, I hit the mountain pass. The fog was so thick I couldn't see 5 feet in front of me. The road was twisting, dangerous, and silent. Then the smell hit me, a rotting smell like dead animals. My truck started losing speed. I pressed the accelerator, but the engine sputtered and died. I got out to check the engine. From the darkness behind me, a voice whispered, "Where are you going?" I spun around. No one, just fog. Terrified, I jumped back in and started the truck. It moved for a bit, then stalled again. This time, through the headlights, I saw him, a tall, thin man standing in the middle of the road. He wore a long black coat and held a stick. I yelled, "Brother, move out of the way." He turned slowly as he stepped into the light. I screamed. He had no face. Where his face should have been, there was just a hollow, empty void. And in that darkness, 2 white eyes glowed like burning coals. He tapped his stick on the road and spoke in a voice that sounded like it came from a deep well. "Where are you going?" It was the same voice I had heard earlier. I was paralyzed with fear. "Nagpur," I stammered, "to deliver cargo." He blinked those glowing white eyes. "I want to go to, no matter how far I walk. I always end up back here. Drop me ahead." I was too scared to say no. I nodded. He walked toward the back of the truck. I checked the side mirror. He vanished into the fog. I slammed the truck into gear and drove. But as the truck passed the spot where he stood, the lights flickered and went black for a second. In that second of darkness, the air in the cabin turned freezing cold. He wasn't on the road anymore. I could feel him. He was inside the truck. I slammed on the brakes and jumped out, screaming, "Who is there?" The truck was empty. But then, the engine started on its own. The lights turned on, and the truck began to roll backward toward the edge of the cliff. I ran after it, jumping onto the back. I opened the rear shutter to check the cargo, one of the wooden crates. The lid was open, and from inside the crate, I heard scratching, like the dead body inside was trying to claw its way out. I slammed the shutter down and ran back to the driver's seat. The black-coated man was gone. I drove like a madman, but the mountain wasn't done with me. A few miles later, the truck died again. In the headlights, floating a few feet off the ground, was a woman in a white sari. She drifted toward my window like a swimmer in water. She raised her head. Her eye sockets were empty black pits. Black blood dripped from her mouth. "Take me with you?" she gurgled. "I need to go forward." She started banging on the glass. I put my head between my knees and prayed. I didn't look up until the banging stopped. When I looked at the window, she was gone. But on the glass, there were streaks of fresh blood sliding down. I couldn't go forward. I turned the truck around and drove back to the dhaba. As I drove back down the pass, I saw them. Shadows. Hundreds of them standing on the curves of the road. Some had no faces. Some had glowing eyes. All of them were waving, trying to stop the truck. I reached the dhaba, shaking, covered in sweat. The owner saw me and didn't look surprised. "You're lucky," he said. "It's Amavasya, the spirits who died on these curves. They want to finish their journey. If you had let them in, you would never have returned." I waited until sunrise. When the sun came up, the fog lifted and the shadows disappeared. When I delivered the crates in Nagpur, I noticed something that still haunts me. On the lid of one of the crates, there were muddy handprints. On the inside, I never drove on Amavasya again. The highways are long and the nights are dark. If these stories send a chill down your spine, please show your support by liking this video and sharing it with a friend who thinks they are brave enough to drive alone at night. And I have a question for you. Did you enjoy these horror stories? Do you want to hear more true tales from the deep villages, haunted forests, and lonely roads of India? Let me know in the comments below. If you want to join us on our next journey into the dark, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss an upload. Until next time, drive safe and never stop for strangers.